You have always been told that awakening was the end of the journey. You were promised that once you saw through the illusion of money, status, fear, and dogma, you were free. But what if that freedom is the final snare? What if the moment you believe you have escaped the false world is the exact moment the lock tightens? For centuries, the mystics of the Gnostic tradition whispered a terrifying secret that the modern spiritual community refuses to touch. They taught that the false creative entity they called the Demiurge doesn't just rule through darkness. He rules through imitation. He doesn't only trap the blind, he traps those who think they can see. His most dangerous weapon is not ignorance, it is false enlightenment. Because before every true awakening comes a final test, one last veil, so radiant, so comforting, and so convincing that almost every seeker mistakes it for the truth. It is the final trap, the illusion of light. You have felt it before, that sense that you are almost there, that you are spiritually superior to the sleeping master, that you have finally figured it out. But the Gnostics warned that this feeling is not liberation. It is the ego putting on a spiritual costume. It is the prison guard changing shifts, wearing white robes instead of black armor. In TSBDO, we are going to explore what the ancient texts call the luminous deception. We will uncover how the false light disguises itself as wisdom, how your own spiritual ego becomes its silent accomplice, and why the soul's final battle isn't fought in the depths of hell, but in the center of a counterfeit heaven. And when the illusion finally breaks, you will see that the Demiurge's power dissolves, not through fighting him, but through the quiet, terrifying act of seeing through the light that masquerades as God. Are you ready to shatter the last mirror? To understand the final trap, we must first understand the architect who built it. Long before the word Gnosticism was coined by scholars, ancient mystics across Egypt, Greece, and Mesopotamia spoke of a being who suffered from a cosmic case of mistaken identity. They called him Yaldabaoth, sackless, the fool, Samiel, the blind. God. In every version of the myth, his story was the same. A blind creator, born of divine ignorance, who mistook his own shadow for the light. In the Apocryphon of John, one of the sacred texts discovered in the Nag Hammadi library in 1945, this demiurge stands over his creation and declares, "I am God, and there is no other beside me." But a voice answers from the Voya, quiet echo from the Pleroma, the realm of true light, reminding him, "You are mistaken, Sam." That single correction defines the entire human condition. When ignorance proclaims itself as truth, illusion becomes reality. And when the architect is blind, the house he builds is a prison. The Gnostics saw existence not as a creation to be worshipped, but as a simulacrum, a copy. To them, this material realm was not evil in the moral sense. It was counterfeit. It was a simulation of divinity that keeps souls asleep through imitation. Every form of light here casts a shadow. Even wisdom, if mirrored imperfectly, becomes deception. But here lies the deeper truth that most modern seekers miss. The Demiurge doesn't rule by force. He rules by agreement. He convinces the soul that the copy is the original, that the map is the territory, that the reflection in the mirror is the face itself. And in that acceptance, the trap is sealed. In later centuries, the church called this heresy. They burned the Gnostics for suggesting the world was an illusion. Yet even Jesus hinted at this when he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." He did not say it was in the sky. He did not say it was in a temple. He did not say it was in a future event. Why? Because anything external can be counterfeited. The Demiurge can build a fake heaven. He can project a hologram of angels. He can create a biochemical feeling of bliss. But he cannot replicate the silence within. He cannot replicate the void. And that is why true awakening requires seeing through not just the dark, but also the dazzling. The final trap is not physical. It is metaphysical. It is the mind's addiction to false light. In Gnostic cosmology, the heavens were described as layered Velzarchonic realms, designed to delay the soul's return to the source. Each level is more radiant than the last. Each one whispers, "Stop here. You've made it. You are safe. You are special." But those who truly awaken know The real light cannot be seen. It can only be remembered. Here's how the false light operates. It does not attack you. It flatters you. It feeds the spiritual ego. It turns enlightenment into hierarchy. It whispers, "You are a chosen one. You are a starseed. You are better than the sleeping masses. You have done the work." Belief in that whisper is the ego's final disguise. The Demiurge hides in the psyche as self. You can meditate for 20 years. You can fast. You can move to an ashram in India. But if you still cling to the identity of being enlightened, you are orbiting the same illusion. You have simply painted the prison bars gold. The Gnostics describe this mechanism as the counterfeit spirit anti-maimonuma. It is an artificial overlay that mimics the divine spark. It loves spiritual bypassing, clinging to love and light to avoid facing the shadow. It convinces you that good vibes only is the path to God, causing you to repress the darkness until it consumes you from the inside. But here is the deeper paradox. You cannot escape the illusion by fighting it, because resistance feeds it. The moment you define yourself against the darkness, you remain trapped in duality. You are playing the Demiurge's game of black versus white, good versus evil. So, the Gnostics did something radical. They stopped resisting. They stopped fighting the devil. And they stopped worshiping the angels. They started observing. They called this not belief, not intellectual knowledge, but direct, unfiltered seeing. Seeing without the filter of the egoic mind's judgment. And when you see clearly, the false light loses its power, because the Demiurge cannot imitate what has no image. He can only reflect. He can only echo. This is why awakening often feels like a loss, like a death, because what is dying is everything bound to the false light. The masks, the comfort, the shimmering illusions, the narrative of the hero's journey. The paradox is that the final trap isn't dark at all. It is beautiful, and that beauty is what tricks so many souls. But beneath that beauty lies something constant, a stillness that cannot be copied, the Gnostic said. The true light has no opposite. It casts no shadow, it does not sin, it sees. Look at the spiritual landscape today. It is a labyrinth of mirrors. Buy this crystal to ascend. Learn this mantra to manifest wealth. Follow this leader to the fifth dimension. The Demiurge feeds on fixation. He doesn't care if you chase money, sex, power, or enlightenment. As long as you are chasing, as long as you are looking outward for the answer, he knows that the seeker who never stops searching will never truly arrive, because arrival requires stopping. The final trap is this endless motion, this subtle addiction to the next level. The next realization, the next download, the next cosmic secret. And every next keeps you here, spinning inside the luminous cage. It is not ignorance anymore. It is intoxication. The Gnostic said the Demiurge builds his throne inside the mind that seeks control. And what is seeking enlightenment if not the ultimate desire for control? To control death, to control suffering, to control God. Jesus captured this dynamic perfectly in the Gospel of Thomas. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. He wasn't describing a moral judgment. He was revealing the architecture of the illusion. The power that liberates you is the same power that traps you when misused. That is the genius of the Demiurge's final design. He doesn't hide the truth. He duplicates it and inverts it. He gives you half of heaven, enough to make you believe you found it, enough to keep you complacent. But just as you reach the threshold of silence, he offers you another revelation. Another shiny object, another role to play in the cosmic drama. But Gnosis isn't about playing roles. It is about seeing through every one of them, even the holy ones. At the edge of awakening, the final illusion often appears as light so radiant it blinds you. You think it is God. You think it is peace. But the true light doesn't dazzle. It disappears. It strips away everything that can be seen, until only awareness remains. That is when the Demiurge loses his grip, not because you fought him, but because there is nothing left in you for him to reflect. No belief to twist. No identity to hold. No illusion to mimic. The final illusion collapses, not through conquest, but through clarity. So, how do you escape what was never real? How do you step beyond the final illusion, when even the act of stepping implies distance? The Gnostics said freedom begins not with rebellion, but with remembrance. You don't fight the illusion. You remember what came before it. You remember the silence underneath every thought, the still awareness that watches your fears, your hopes, your beliefs, and remains untouched. Here is the practice. Every time a fear, a desire, or even a profound spiritual idea demands your energy, pause, look at it, feel its pull, and then gently remember. This too is light pretending to be truth. You don't have to reject it. Just see it. That act alone, seeing without absorbing, is the beginning of liberation. It is like turning the mirror toward the sun. The reflection burns away, leaving only light itself. When the false light offers you comfort, ask yourself, does this expand me or reinforce me? Real light expands. It erases the walls of me and mine. False light reinforces the story. My path, my progress, my awakening. The final illusion dissolves not through effort, but through exhaustion. When the seeker grows tired of seeking and simply sees, then the illusion collapses on its own, like a wave that forgets it was ever separate from the ocean. You are not at the beginning of awakening. You are standing at the threshold of the final trap. The Demiurge is offering you a crown. He is offering you a title. He is offering you a seat at the right hand of a false god. Don't take it. Walk past him. Walk past the angels. Walk past the lights. Keep walking until there is nothing left but you. That is where God is hiding. The mirrors are breaking, and what is left behind is what was always free. If this message reached you, it is because you were meant to hear it. The false light can no longer satisfy you. If you are ready to stop seeking and start seeing, leave a comment below. Break the mirror. Signal to the universe that you are done with the toys. You are done with the copies. You are ready for the real thing. The false light blinds. The true light disappears. Become the invisible.